Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Napoleon, and today I'm back with another Enlisted episode, and this time we're going to be continuing our series on Gold Order weapon suggestions. Like I've said in my news video, I'm quite happy considering the fact that some of the weapons that I've suggested for various videos, like the Ortia 1941, the Type 1 SMG, and the Type 2 SMG have been added in-game, so I'm actually pretty happy. That said, let's start with today's episode, and before we do, this video has been made possible for your friends at Discord, meaning that if you haven't subscribed or joined the Discord, I highly suggest that you do. But that said, let's get started. And this time we're going to be taking a turn back to the Western Front and to the Germans. The first one that we have is the Mauser MP33, and in 1933, the famous Mauser firm demonstrated a new submachine gun for consideration by the German army, and this time it's the Reichswehr. In 1933 marked the day of the Nazis came to power, and the restrictions of the armaments production had been reinforced by the Treaty of Versailles was no longer adhered to, and therefore the SMG apparently simultaneously to be the likely that had been developed by the secret in the preceding years. The Mauser SMG following the Brigham pattern, which had a tubular receiver, jacketed barrel, and a horizontal magazine fed. The internal bolt and guided return springs were also based on the Brigham type. The barrel was a screwed trend to the receiver for easy removal, and this will suggest that the multiple barrels were made to accommodate different cartridges. As it is, as a known surviving example, is chambered in 9x3023 Steiner, which is probably intended for Austrian export. The manufacturing firm of the Mauser SMG deviates from the Brigham rather noticeably. It does not use a rifle stock, but rather a pistol grip and ollie-incited bolt. The butt, like the barrel, is screwed directly into the receiver and acts as a rear cap. The gun cannot fire without being attached, unlike also the Brighams. The Mauser featured a fire selector switch on the left side of the pistol grip, giving automatic single fire and safety features, and the sights are similar to the MP28-2, with an adjustable tangent rear sight and a single front pulsal sight. An interesting point to note is that only half the length of the barrel jack is performed, and the other is primarily covered by the extension wooden force end. The Mauser 1933 SMG was offered for a brief period in the early mid-1930s, but no sales were materialized in that window and Mauser had to consequently be more successful with their quote-unquote automatic Schneifele machine pistols, even though the Schneifele was technically inferior to an actual submachine gun. The Mauser clearly saw it as more comfortable than this SMG and decided to give it greater priority, which this actually is going to be on this list, the Schneifele 2. That said, that is the MP33, and let's move on to the MP36. In January 1938, the German Heereswaffendienst requested a lightweight, compact, rapid-firing 9mm weapon for paratroopers and armored crews. The result was the MP38, a revolutionary submachine gun designed to be later known as the MP40. However, the MP38 was produced extraordinarily quickly because the Irma Local has produced a prototype submachine gun, the MP36, before they were even approached to produce one. So basically, the MP36 is the forerunner to the MP38. The MP36 was virtually unheard of even at the time, and had very known to exist. Few were captured by the Allies, and the models were captured mysteriously. They didn't even use their own magazines, instead of using the MP40 magazine. Also, the weapon had one of the markings. They read Irma EMP36, and the MP36 was never likely to have been even mass-produced. So this is extremely rare and even secret weapon that I don't even know much about, much less the internet, so that's going to be interesting. Next we have the FMP1, and the development origins of the FMP1 are not well documented and the designer is unknown. It was developed to cover German fortification on the Sea Creek line during World War II. The purpose of the weapon seems to have provided blind covering fire for troops defending the positions and to suppress advancing enemies. It was not intended to be aimed. Example captured a British study at Enfield after the war. The FMP-1 was a blowback operated submachine gun based on the MP28-2. The fire mechanism was electronically activated by connecting wires, so that is going to be extremely rare. It held 32 round magazine and it will be manually operated, which is quite interesting considering that the fact that this is an electronically operated machine gun, or submachine gun to be exact. But next on we have the Mauser C96. Now the reason why this is on the list, and since it's already in Moscow, Normandy, and Berlin, is because this is the Schnellfire, or rapid fire version. The Spanish gun making firms of Hermos and Astra began producing detachments of the magazine-fed select fire versions of the C-96 in 1927 and in 1928 respectively, intended for export for the Far East. Mauser then began production of the Schnellfeuer, or rapid fire, with their own select fire detachable magazine versions of the M30 designed by Wiggersten. Production started in 1932 and ended in 1936, which had led to its unofficial designation as the M1932 by collectors. An extremely successful design, over 98,000 guns were made overall and their own series of serial numbers. It was widely intended for export to South America and China for the opposing sides in the latter of the Spanish Civil War. The Yugoslav military then tested the Schnellfeuer in both 7.62 and 9mm for the purposes of arming mountain troops and special operations units. Improvements were requested by the Yugoslavs, included a detachable barrel imported from the front and rear, and more durable parts of preventing breakage under sustainable fire, and lowering positions of the shoulder stock to avoid hammer fight. Small numbers of the M1932 were supplied to the German Wehrmacht during World War II, who was designated as the M712. That is all it for the machine pistol C96, or I should be calling it the M712. Let's move on to the even more experimental Maxim submachine gun. This gun actually held a multi-clip which had 8 rolls and 10 cartridges each, somewhat between a Fiat Rebelli and a Japanese Type 11 LMG, which was first loaded, and the column of cartridges is basically short of a rack and then pulled into the chamber, so once again similar like the Type 11 LMG. When all the rounds have been fired, the now empty clip is pushed through the bolt and the select fire on the right side of the fed magazine. The action of the gun itself is based on the Maxim MG08 and the air-cooled machine gun, using the same type of recoil-operated toggle lock, just scaled down to the 9 Parabellum pistol cartridge. Instead of having the recoil refuse spring on the outside of the gun, in a case that will be locked inside the buttstock, it may have other modern designs. Once again, I say it might because the sources on this is extremely low. As a matter of fact, nothing that we know about is from this gun, including who even made it, we don't know. What does it have, we don't know. What ammo is it calibrated, although it could be 9mm, but once again, we don't know for sure. As a matter of fact, we don't even know the proper name of this gun. I said at the beginning that this is the experimental German Maxim SMG, but we don't even know. We only know that it's based off the Maxim SMG, and it had these sliding rounds, so that's going to be interesting. But that said, this is the Maxim German 0818 Maxim SMG, highly experimental of World War I type. But that said, this is all it for today, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the Discord, and I'll see you in the next one. Now before you leave, I would like to thank you very much for watching this video. I would be honored if you could like and subscribe to the channel. Remember, more videos are coming out, so it is a good idea to click on that notification button. Anyways, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.